99% of the harm is caused in your head by you and your thoughts. 1% of the harm is caused by reality. Most of the time, the problem isn't the problem. The way you think about the problem is. Author unknown. I'm Stephen Middleton, coming to you from the Possibility Action Network. Our core values include I am, I can, and I will. I am Possibility Man. Today, I want to share on the theme, the one answer to all questions. But first, a reminder, if you have not traveled over to YouTube and subscribe to our YouTube channel, I'm placing a link wherever you see this video, and I hope that you will travel over to YouTube and subscribe. Pass on my information to others that you may think will be interested in what we share on social media. Now back to our share. The one answer to all questions. Now I want to be candid with you as I explore this topic with you. First, I am not claiming to be an expert on this idea, but it is an idea that I have been working with, that I have been looking at for the past few weeks now. And if you watch, today is December 6th, 2021, I have delayed talking about this for those few weeks because I wanted to perfect my understanding of this before sharing it with you. But today I realize that I don't have to be perfect at this. I can only share with you what I am seeing now. And I want to read parts of the quote again, and I want to personalize it with you. 99% of the harm is caused in my head, by me and my thoughts. 1% of the harm is caused by reality. Most of the time, the problem isn't the problem. The way I think about the problem is. Now, here is what I am discovering. We live in an inside-out world. That is, human beings and perhaps all living things live in an inside-out world, a world of their own creation. And if you look at industry, several different industries, they seem to understand this as well. For example, the movie industry. They recognize that the people who enter a theater are creating their reality from the inside out. The last movie I saw was James Bond, No Time to Die, and I went there with some other people. And in the course of the movie, some of the people there were jumping out of their seats as the movie was playing. Others were throwing their fists in the air, fighting in the cinema. Others were actually talking back at the screen because the writers, the director, and the actors had gotten into their head. And that's the sign of a good movie. When the movie is able to get into your head and the experience of the movie comes from the inside out. My late mother used to watch football with me late in her life. Now, Mama did not like football, but she would watch it with me. And even though she did not understand the rules of the game, with the music pumping into the stadiums and the music blaring through our speaker and the football players colliding with each other, my mother would be jumping and shouting, ooh, ah, ooh, throwing up her hands in the air. Because the people who produce a football game understand that they have to get into our heads. And even my mother, who knew nothing about the game, was able to jump around as if she knew something about it, because the experience was created from the inside out. Basketball teams, hockey teams, and other sports events understand this, and they try to get into our heads. Advertisers understand this as well. The models, both males and females, that they put on the television, the type of music that they play, the way it's directed, the actual production as it comes through your television screen. The people responsible for those ads try to get into our heads because they recognize that reality is created from the inside out. 99% of the harm is caused in my head by me and my thoughts. 1% of the harm is caused by reality. Most of the time, the problem isn't the problem. The way we think. Let me change that. The way I think about the problem is. Now let's look at human life, the way we are, educated and trained in our culture. I live in the United States, but the same applies to you no matter where you are on the planet. We have learned thinking. We have learned to make meaning of some things that come into our experience. And once again, it's not the thing, it's the meaning we make of it, because we are a meaning-making organism. So therefore, the problem can never be another person. Now don't get this twisted. I'm not suggesting that if a person is threatening you with a gun, that you should simply sit there and say that 99% of the problem, is in my head. That's not what I'm talking about. Of course, go to a safe place always. If there are structural problems in society that needs to be changed, of course, try to change those structural problems. But what I am saying, though, that the meaning we make of those things is 99% in my head. Sometimes it's actually 100% of the things that I make meaning of. Now, what do you hear me say? Is this good news for you that 99% is in my head and perhaps in your head? Is that good news for you? It is good news for me, and I'll tell you why. It means that I have the opportunity to see a different reality, no matter what meaning I'm making of the situation now. Now, what does it take for me to see a different reality? What it takes is simply to recognize that 99% is in my head, that I'm making meaning of something. I was talking to a pregnant teenager about 3 or 4 months ago. And as I encountered her, I'm an older man of a certain age, and she clearly indicated to me that she was somewhat embarrassed that she, maybe a 16-year-old girl, was pregnant. What happened in that instant with her is that she began to make meaning of perhaps my dialogue with her would lead to judgment, to criticism. And I could see that she recoiled at that possibility. But as I spoke with her and encouraged her, her light came on. She began to smile, even beam, to think about her baby as she shared with me the baby's name that she had picked out for him. 99% of the problem was in her head. When she thought that I was a source of criticism, she recoiled at it. Once she discovered that I was a source of support, then she beamed. But now, that experience that she had came from her. It did not come from me, because as I said before, we live in a world that's created inside. Reality is what we make of it. From the inside out, not from the outside in. Possibility man, me, moi, had the same experience with this particular topic. The one answer to all questions. I postponed it, as I said in the beginning, for a couple of weeks at least, because I felt that I was not expert at it, that I was not in a position to share on this particular topic, that I did not want to be a fraud as I talked about this. Really, and it kept me from sharing on it. But the same thought came back to me. 99% of the problem is in my head. I was making meaning of this. There have been many witnesses of this truth, that there is one answer to all questions. One individual, for example, is Henry Ford. We all know the name Henry Ford, and many of us have driven Ford automobiles. Here is what Henry Ford said. He said, whether you think you can or whether you think you can't, you're right. Now, why would he make such an assertion? Henry Ford recognized that 99% of the harm is in the head of the individual thinking those thoughts. Only 1% is in reality. And I must tell you, sometimes 0% is in reality. 100% is in my head. Sidney Banks, I've mentioned him from time to time, a 20th century philosopher. This is what he said about emotional wellness. He said, mental stability and peace of mind is one thought away from everyone on earth. One thought. What's the good news? Again, the good news is that 99%, often 100% of the harm is in my head. The good news is that I can recognize it. I can recognize that I make meaning of something, whatever it is, to cause me distress, whatever it is to keep me from writing a book, from whatever it is to keep me from giving that talk, from whatever it is to keep me from starting that business, from whatever it is to keep me from financial independence. 99% of the harm is in my thinking. Only 1%, if any, is in reality. I'm Stephen Middleton, coming to you from the Possibility Action Network. Our core values include I am, I can, and I will. I am Possibility Man. Until next time, good day.